Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. We are going to look at the hash code problem for this year. The hash code coding competition is a coding competition run by Google that goes on every year around a month before the actual coding competition. They put out a practice problem. But before we go into that, let's look at the competition's rules and everything. So, this year's Hashcode 2022 qualification round is on February 24th. What you need to know is you have to be 16 and up to register, and you need to have a team of at least 2 people or at most 4 people. That is basically most of the rules that would stop you to join if you don't qualify for those. But if you do, you have a chance to actually compete in this. If you win this round, if you are in the number of top teams, you will be able to compete in the final round. And those people will get, they win stuff. Right now we are in the practice round. The actual competition that I call the actual competition is the qualification round. And we have the world finals, which I'm thinking it's virtual. Okay. Again, the time is also here. The platform is new and I really like it. They changed it around compared to last year. I had to get used to it, but it didn't need too much getting used to. We have the practice round is still around. There's still time. And the qualification round is on February the 24th, and the final rounds is apparently on April 30th. I didn't know that. I hadn't scrolled down enough to see that. Okay, so again, reading a bit more about it. What is Hashcode? Google's team-based programming competition Hashcode allows you to share skills and connect with other coders as you work together to solve a problem modeled off a real Google engineering challenge. In small teams of 2 or 4, coders all over the world will tackle the first problem, so it's open for everybody basically, through qualification rounds. Though this round is hosted online, teams can come together virtually to compete side by side in locally coordinated Hashcode hubs. Yes, you can locally coordinate hubs and gather with people, and it's really fun. I've done that twice. Anyway, so top teams from this round are invited to join for the virtual final rounds. I'm hoping one day I'll make it to the final rounds. I don't know if I will, but what is this coding competition and how it works is, so this is the online platform where you'll form your team, join a hub, practice, and compete during the rounds. During the qualification round, you'll watch our YouTube live stream to be introduced to the problem. And your team will have 4 hours to solve an optimization problem using the programming language and tools of your choice. Teams can also compete alongside other teams in your area by joining a virtual hub. Yes, you'll have a scoreboard for your hub alongside the the scoreboard is something that you can filter by hub, by country, and the whole world. It's really fun to check by country because most of the times the hubs are universities and you're let's see which university has the highest score. I really like that. So, top teams from the qualification round will be invited to the virtual world finals. It wasn't virtual before, but it is virtual now. I think the last one was held in Ireland. You can look at the archive and see who's won and stuff like that. So, in the virtual world finals, where they'll work together to solve another challenge and compete for cash prizes. So yes, the qualification round is called the qualification round because it's a qualification round, but like I haven't been able to pass that, but I still enjoy doing the practice problem and the qualification round. By the way, you have to go to schedule to see your problems. There isn't like a place that says go to problem or stuff like that. We are here for the practice round problem. And of course, it's called one pizza. What else would it be called? Last year it was even more pizza. I think the year before that it was like more pizza. And I think the year before that it was just pizza. I remember back in 2018 when I tried to solve the problem, practice problem with like two of my colleagues, because we were like software engineers, junior, but still. We looked at it. I don't know why, like, it scared the hell out of me, the practice problem. I was like, I'm not going to join this competition. It's not for me. I'm not good enough to do this. It was really scary. And then the next year, I was a master's student. I was like, you know what? Let's organize a hub to do this. Because it was something I could do as, I don't know, like I had access to staff in a university. So I organized the hub for 2019. And again, I didn't practice, which is like not smart. I went in the, like I did look at some YouTube videos, but like I didn't understand it. I did not understand the practice problem. So like how would I expect to do the actual problem if the practice problem is most of the times a bit simpler. Like you can use brute force in both the practice problem and the qualification problem to get at least one score. But because I hadn't practiced whatsoever on the, the night of the qualification round, which was nighttime for us, I got 0 because I couldn't even submit the example round, because like if you open this, there's I'm going to go through it, read it, but there is a sample input and a sample output. If you submit this sample output, you're not going to have 0. You're going to get like at least 1, but I got 0 in 2019 because I hadn't prepared. And then in 2020, when they announced a hash code happening again, and I was like, of course I'm going to organize a hub, but what I did was like, okay, let's look at the practice round problem, because last year I got 0 and I'd rather get 1 instead of 0. I read it, and I remember like it was one evening and I just tried to solve it. Like, I don't know, like even in 2019 when I got 0, there were like some ideas, but we didn't have a good output. So in 2020, I tried it, and the saddest thing is that for some reason, I don't have the solution anymore, but I got a score in a span of an evening for the practice problem. And I was like, I can do this? Like, this is only for cool people. So, yeah. And then in the qualification round, I was with a person who was smarter than me, and we got a good score. But in 2021, that was the first time when I, by myself, well, not by myself, but like I was the leader of my team, and I was able to actually solve something because, if you know, on my YouTube channel, I solved the practice problem in 2021, and then for the qualification round, I was not scared because, again, if you just understand the style of the problem and then know what output it wants, that's more than half of that battle. Like, just getting 1 score is just interesting and fun. So, thank you for listening to my rant. Now I'm going to actually go through the problem. And like why I'm doing this, why I am solving this, why I'm putting it on YouTube, why I'm screaming on Twitter about this, is because I don't want people to be afraid of coding competitions. It's daunting, obviously, but like it's not something that is not for you. Like in 2018, I was like, this is not for me because it's scary. But now it's like, I'm not gonna win, I know, but it's fun. It's challenging. So that's my reason for promoting this. Hopefully one day Google will, I don't know, sponsor me or something. Anyway, but that's just a pipe dream. Now, let's look at this year's practice round for Hashcode 2022, problem being one pizza. I'm going to read through it. As you saw, I have a score here, and I am going to write code for it. I'm not going to go through my old code because that's not interesting. It's fun to see someone think while they're coding. Okay, and I'm going to be using C#. So, reading through the problem. You are opening a small pizzeria. In fact, your pizzeria is so small that you decided to offer only one type of pizza. Now, you need to decide what ingredients to include. Pepper, tomatoes, both. Everyone has their own pizza preferences. Each of your potential clients has some ingredients they like and maybe some ingredients they dislike. Each client will come to your pizzeria if both conditions are true, the conditions being the following. All the ingredients they like are on the pizza, and none of the ingredients they dislike are on the pizza. If both true, then the person is going to buy the pizza that you have prepared and your one and only pizza. So, each client is okay with additional ingredients they neither like or dislike being present on the pizza. If they hate something on the pizza, they're not going to accept it. There has to be all the ingredients they like on the pizza. And if there's extra ingredients that they neither like or dislike, they're cool with that. That's how you get a score. So, your task is to choose which ingredients to put on your only pizza type. One pizza, that's the question, to maximize the number of clients that will visit your pizzeria. So let's look at the input. I don't like this part always looks too mathematic to me, but then when I read it, I'm like, fair. I don't like too many symbols. The first line contains one integer. The integer is bigger or equal to 1, and that's 100,000, right? So that's the first line. And what is that? Is the number of potential clients. The following two lines of each C, that one was a bit tricky when I first read it, describes the client's preference in the following format. So reading through it, this is what is this? But when you look at this, you'll understand. But I'm going to read through this so that you'll remember when we're reading the actual input. The first line contains integer L, 1 to 5, really, followed by L names. So a person can like or dislike up to 5 ingredients. That's interesting. Followed by L names of ingredients a client likes, delimitated by spaces. Yes, the delimiter is space here. Okay. Second line contains another integer. It can be 0. That one actually messed with me when I was writing code. It crashed my program. Anyway, or up to 5, equals to 5, followed by D names of ingredients a client dislikes. So the first line is what the client likes. The second line is what the client dislikes, delimited by space, but it could be 0. The liked ingredients are 1 and up. Each ingredient name consists of between 1 and 15 ASCII characters. Each character is one of the lowercase a to z letters, or a digit 0 to 9. So, submission. The submission should consist of one line consisting of... Why did they use consist twice? If this was my essay, I wouldn't have done that. Continuing. The submission should consist of one line consisting of a single number that is 0 or less than n. What is n? Is followed by a list of n ingredients to put on the only pizza available in the pizzeria, separated by, of course, spaces. The list of ingredients should contain only the ingredient mentioned by at least one client without duplicates. So the list should be unique, and you shouldn't put whatever ingredients you like. Like, you should put the ingredients that was mentioned by the above client. We'll look at the sample input in just a second. Let's read about the scoring. The scoring. A solution scores 1 point for each client that will come to your pizzeria. A client will come to your pizzeria if all the ingredients they like are on the pizza and none of the ingredients they dislike are on the pizza. That was the rule that we just read, the condition one, right here. So we are finally looking at a sample input. And like I said, understanding what a sample input is, reading that file, and then converting that to the simplest form of the sample output is like half of the battle. Yes, optimization is the whole point of this coding competition, but for you as a person competing, just doing that and getting more than 0 is just more than enough. Like, my expectation for the qualification round is trying to get more than 0. Even if I got 0, no problem, but I'm guessing I can upload the sample output. So, it said the first line contains the number of potential clients. So here we have 3. We have 3 people thinking they want a pizza. The following 2 times C line, 2 times client line is like, this is the first client, this is the second client, and this is the third client, because we have 3 clients, is first line of the first client's stuff is number of ingredients they like. So the client, it said like an integer and then a bunch of names. Here it is. The integer is 2. This client likes 2 things. Thing number 1 being cheese. Thing number 2 being pepper. There isn't anything that they dislike. So they like 2 things and they don't mind all the other things. The second client likes basil and hates pineapple. The third client likes mushrooms and tomatoes, but hates basil. So what we just read is visualized here. It's saying, and it's basically reading what I said. It's saying the first client likes cheese and pepper. The second client likes basil, hates pineapples. Third client hates basil, likes mushroom and tomatoes. When looking at it visually, you'll see that you'll have to lose one of those clients. And like, the part that I don't like is, if you lose, like, the scoring is based on client, it's not based on the ingredients. So, like, you will lose a client here. That's it. You only have potential to get 2 clients based on what they like and what they dislike. Looking at our pizza, well, or just like solving it with our eyes, what you can do is have like here, cheese and pepper are cool. Nobody hates them, so we can choose them. Cheese and pepper chosen. Basil is hated, so we'd rather not choose it. The pineapple is hated, but like nobody else likes it, so that has to go. And the mushroom and tomatoes, nobody hates them. We'll have them. But like, if I chose basil instead of mushroom and tomatoes, I'll have 2 clients. If I like choose mushroom and tomatoes and not basil, I'll still have 2 clients. So it's a lose-lose game. So yeah, in this particular sample output, we choose to use 4 ingredients in the pizza: cheese, mushroom, tomatoes, and peppers, which is this client and this client, because we didn't put basil on, so this client is happy. All that they like is on there, being tomato and mushroom, and all that they dislike is not there, which is the basil, and this client has to go. The first client likes the pizza because it contains both cheese and peppers, which they like. And the second client does not like the pizza because it does not contain basil, which they like. Yes, if it does not contain something that they're gone. The third client likes the pizza because it contains mushroom and tomatoes, which they like, and like the condition is it does not contain what they do not like, which is basil. So these two conditions have to be true for you to get 1 score of 1 client. Now, this means a submission of this output would score 2 points for this case because 2 clients, the first and the third one, would like the pizza. So what we're going to do is try and solve this issue. The first thing you can do is like familiarize yourself with the sample input, which we just did, and then download all the inputs that are there. But like the first thing you have to do is just start with the sample input, because like it's the one you understand, and if you solve for that, you're going to get some score. You're not going to get the best score, because most of the times the other smaller ones have different new ideas that you're going to need. So yeah, these are the files. I'm just going to show you the input files. I'm not going to show you my code yet. So yeah, this is the sample input, the one we looked at. 3 clients, like, dislike, and like, dislike of this one. And then the second one, you see that the name of ingredients has started to be jargon, because it's not necessary to have a good name. It's just input output. But the idea of this file is all the dislikes are 0. So if your like solution is a normal brute force, but like doesn't check for 0, like your solution is going to crash your program. But if it has, like, it's aware of dislike being 0, then you're going to get 5 points for this, because there are 5 clients and they like everything for this file. The third file that is somewhat readable is the C file. The idea for me that I needed to use was, the idea is that, well, I guess you can't see it here, but if something, like, let's say pineapple, is disliked by 10 people and you have 15 potential clients and the pineapple is liked by the other 5, you're going to lose more clients choosing that, even though it's liked. So you better remove it to gain more clients, or scores in this case. Why am I not signed in? I was signed in, wasn't I? Anyway, so yeah, this is what this question gave me, that idea. Which is like, my sister was like, wait, you didn't have this idea? I was like, I'm not that smart. Like, I look smart because I wear glasses, but I'm not that smart, I swear. So yeah, like choosing what is liked more, and then not choosing what is disliked, even though it's liked. Because the first style of, so I'm like going to start solving it, and I'm going to talk. The first style of solving this is brute force. So yeah, I created a folder, named it One Pizza, selecting this folder. And folder is being selected. Okay, opening. And then I'm going to create a new project. .NET new console. Yeah, like, expect me to look at Stack Overflow today 1,001 times. I am bad at memorization. Okay, we have a project. C# project. We have the main file, and we are going to start. How do we start? Where do we start? To make sure you don't waste a lot of your time, what I suggest, like a tip for me, is to have your read input function and your write output function both be like ready, even though you don't know what the problem is. You still have like the bare bones of a read input and write output, so that you can modify it to what the problem is. Because if you have those two ready again, you'll get a good enough score. Now, what I can do is go to Stack Overflow and get the read from file thing that I keep copying every year, or I could look at my old, I mean, you guys can do that as well. This isn't like an exam. use whatever, because even in the actual coding competition, you have the right to use whatever you like with your team. So yes, we have a read input function method, and then here, read all lines, and then just looping through the lines. Okay. So first thing, like we said, is to read our input file. But when we read it, where does that go? It goes to a class that we are going to create. So what we can do first is create a class which will hold the object for our input. So now this part, what it has is potential clients and what they like and dislike. So do we call it picky clients? Clientes. Let's add a underscore in between. Here are our picky clients. Now, from our input file, we know there's an integer. So let's have an int of potential clients. Is this all right. Next, we have, according to this we read, we have a thing that's a list. The list is, I don't have what's the thing, is it? Well, I mean, I need IO for reading it, but the other one is, I think, is it system.collections? And then generic. I think that's where the list is. So, what is this list? We have to create another class before creating this list. And that class would be class, we can call it preferences. Client, how do I write the word preference? Preferences. Is that a good, should I check Google if I've written it correctly or not? Is that why we're here? To me, yes. The answer is yes. Oh my god, look at me. I understand, I know words. Now, we have the shortcut for creating new properties. I love it. Okay. In our preference list, we have, first of all, an integer. So that's correctly chosen. My property is the number of ingredients. So, number of ingredients is the first thing we have. And this part is again a list. How do we know that? It told us right here. So the first line contains one integer followed by L names of integers. So that's just like a list of strings. By the way, it did say the ingredient name is both letters and digits, but we don't need the digits as far as I'm aware. Okay, so loved ingredients. After writing get and set, I need to initialize it, otherwise it just gives me errors because it's inside another class. New list of strings. There we go. So this is what I did. I create number of liked or loved, and then we're just going to copy and paste this because what I'm best at is copying and pasting things. And we're just going to say how many ingredients is hated. And how do we know that? Again, we loop back to this. We have the potential clients, the ingredients they like and they dislike. First one, second like, second dislike. Now I'm going to start using the ingredients they love and the ingredients they hate. What we did just now is we created this part. Now we're going to create the bigger part, and the bigger part is let's just write the prop shortcut. It's a list of client preferences, and my property can just be called client preferences. Yeah, I should probably use the style where the class is singular and the object is not. Okay, so our picky clients class starts with potential clients, which is this part, and then it moves to the list that I just created, but I couldn't see because it was not formatted well. I'm going to initialize this here as well because I don't want it to cause me problems. Okay, now that we have the object ready, we can read it because we didn't have anything to put our file into, and then so that we can read it and try to create the output file. That's the whole point of this. So what we need is a read my input method function. What this needs is a path of where that file is that it's reading. I need an output from it, and that is a list of picky clients. No, it's not a list. This file is not a list, but it has a list inside it, so I just need this object. So what we can do is create my picky client. I guess I still need the S here. Yeah, let's do this. We have this here. It would be nice for us to have a constructor. Good. Yeah, we have my list of picky clients. Oh, public, I guess. Everything should be public because I don't have the energy nor the time to make stuff not public. I mean, be too. Yeah, okay. I just used Control KF to format it because things were all over the place. Now, yeah, the output of this is this, and it's reading a path. The path, it would be nice for us just to create I'm writing static because I want it to be used everywhere, string path, where I will put both my inputs and outputs. There. And I think I can just write, I'll have to create a folder for it. So what do we call a place that has both input and output? Because I used to call it just input, but then that wouldn't be fair. Input, output. Let's just call it put. Yeah. So this is our folder. Checking path. I think I have to put a slash somewhere, don't I? Okay. After it, let's do that. Backslash. There we go. So this is our path, and in that path, there we go, is where our file should be. Currently it's not because I haven't created this. So creating a new folder, calling it put, because it has both input and output. And in here we are going to put our input stuff. So I'm going to download these. So yeah, these are the input files. Now we have, I guess, directed to the path, but we should know the name of the file that we're going to call. Again, right now I'm writing for the file name. There we go. I'm writing for the example file, which is called an example. Can I double click it and get the text? And this is the name. What happened? Oh, static string. Okay, so now we have where we know where this file is, path plus file name. Now we need to create this method. The output of this method is picky clients. This is what I want from it. It's not void. So our picky clients read my input file, I guess, and then let's create a new object here, call it my picky client, or client, doesn't really matter, and that's a new one. And then we're going to return it so that it stops telling me I have errors. It needs to read something, right? What we're reading is a string, and we can just call it full path because it's already been given to us up here. So sure, have it be static. I'm clicking KF so that it's formatted well. Now we have something. We're not reading anything yet, but what I can do is create console.writeLine just to see I don't have like big errors. And let's create a dash, and then I guess I'll put file name here, even though like it's accessible. I could have just accessed it instead of giving it, but yeah. So it's telling me what I'm reading. And then, just for the fun of it, I'll create another console.writeLine here to tell me that my program is ending. Okay, and it says like finished, running, and then file name. There we go. Now we should be able to run this. Like, again, we're not doing anything. .NET run. It said read, and then it said finished running. So there isn't any obvious errors here. What we can do is look at the input file that is here, like reading it as it is. So I was planning on copying my read input file here, which is this line. Okay. Yeah. So what we have is, okay, the name is changed. Let's close this part. We have full path because I need the full path, not just the file name. And yeah, we are like, we have a list of lines that is this file. Okay, what we can do is say, okay, I know, because I just created an object for it, I know that the first line is always one integer. Again, we read through this input and it's saying the first line is always one integer. Given that, I have my picky client, and I know that the first line, so the picky client has client preferences, and then it has a list of potential clients. In the client preference part, first line of these lines, I guess it's nicer to call it something that's like my input file, I guess. Why is my naming all over the place, my naming style? Some of them are camel, some of them are like this one. We're going through my input file, and we know the first line is an integer that is on the first line. So this is the first line, and then this is like other lines. But why do I have an error? Because my client preferences is, sorry, potential clients. That's what I need. Again, there should be error. Why? Because potential clients is integer. This is string. What do? We say integer.parse, and yes, we are sure that Google is giving us a number and not like some other stuff, so we're using parse. But if you're not sure, you can use try parse, but we trust Google. Now this line has been read. Okay, what we have next is a list. So we can either write a for each, we can write a for, like a for loop, we can write whatever loop you like. I like for loops. So let's write a for loop. Here, so like I'm going to be that annoying teacher. What should we put in as length? Do we put in number of potential clients? Is that a correct thing to put there? If we do that, we're going to miss out because we have 2 times the number of potential clients as length. Okay. What we can do is take this variable and then say times 2. Cool? Okay, now we have another small error, and that error is we've already taken the 0th index of this, so it's not fair to start from 0 because that would be wrong. What we can do is start from 1. Now 1 is here. 0 was here. So 0 is gone. 1 is here. And then it will just loop. So in the first loop, it will be 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4, and then 5 and 6. So yes. So we have client preference. Let's just call it client preferences, and then new client preference. I don't have I'm just going to do it in a way that's too obvious. I'm not going to put it all in one line and stuff like that, because my point isn't to create the smallest line of code and the most optimized thing. My point is you understand what I'm doing, hopefully. I'm trying to explain it to 2018 me, where she was scared to even try to solve it. So yeah, inside client preferences, according to this file, the first part is sadly there's another list inside these lists, and the first part of the list is an integer that says what's to come. So, and it was up to 5, but we still have to create a list, because why say there's 5 and then you have 2 and then your program crashes. So sadly we'll have to do another for I. But before we do that, we can just say var current line, and then that would be my input file, and then I. Just copying this, putting it here, because when I write this, it says, in the simplest terms, my input file 0th was here, my input file starting from 1 is here. So now we have this. Now my current line, the 0th line of my current line is, so if I say client preferences, the object that I created, this little guy, dot, we have loved and hated, right? The number of loved ingredients is here, and we know that if I say +1, I'll always get this. So it's just 2 things. Here I don't need 3 loops, I need 2 loops. So in the current line that I'm in, the 0th thing is the number of loved ingredients. Your string, give me error. I guess I didn't explicitly write string. I wrote var, so it's there should be an error. What's happening? I'm just going to parse it. There we go. I guess my computer's tired. Wait. I'm going to just write var, not string, because it should be a list of strings. I apologize. If you look at the first one, it's an array. So we are on the first line. What we can do is we can do 2 things. Create a loop for the ingredients to come, or actually go to the hated part. Why? Is it still my fault? Because it's not string anymore, is it? Is it? Oh, right. So this is the first line, and it assumes it's just string. That's it. I have to tell it it's a list. And how I do that is I split based on the delimiters we have been given, and that is space. Yeah, we can split, and we have been given space as a delimiter, delimited by space. There we go. Okay. And after we do that, we say toList, so that, we can't? I guess that's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, now we have an array of string, and we can just call it from stuff like that. Okay, perfect. Now, again, my previous point is to go to the hated line, and then write loops for both of them, which we'll do. So, loved line is 0. Now we know how many, okay, renaming. I copy everything and I forget to rename it. Now that we have this and this, we can read those. Okay, what I'm doing is creating another loop. Okay, and now this time we are just going through this one. There's no catch. I think when starting from 1, it would be nice if I wrote equals here. Let's like do it with our eyes and brains. So number of potential clients is 3 here. So this will be 6. And it will start from 1 being here. It will go to 2, like it would, oh right, here we have to say move more than once, because I want to be here and then I want it to move here. So instead of saying I++ to move like 1 step each time, I tell it I plus equals 2. Okay, so that's how it works, right? Because if it doesn't, that's going to be embarrassing. Okay, so I mean, I'm not going to say that I have a master's degree in software engineering and that I have like 5 to 6 years of professional experience and I make the smallest mistakes and I Google everything because I'm human. Back to solving this. Yeah, what we're going to do is just read through this is the current client preference. And then we're going to, like right now we are reading the part where we are getting a list of likes. So what we can do here is say the loved ingredients dot add, because it's a list. Add, what are we adding? We are adding, this is again starting from 1 because 0 is exhausted, it's taken away. Current line, and yeah, I actually just technically proved that I need the equal because it has to reach the last line. Same for here. I want it to reach the last line as well. I don't want it to be less than the last line. So we read this part, which is the 0th index. We're going to here. And since I don't know how many there's going to be, potential is 1 to 5. So I'm just going to use the loop that I have, which is J. And then semicolon at the end. So this, the equals on the wrong side. Same from here. Cool. 5 to 6 years of professional experience. Okay, so we read the loved part. What we do best is copy and paste, as I said, what I do best, I guess. Copy and paste it for the hated part. And then this is going to be the hated ingredients. This is going to be the number of hated experience. And this one is already renamed. Yeah, I guess writing J is not going to be a problem here because it's out of this scope. This is the scope of the first loop. And if I wrote I, it would be able to see it because this curly braces is not closed. But here, it's a closed scope, so these two don't have a problem. Story time. I remember I was in first year of university, like CS, and I remember my teacher asking us how scope works, and I went up to the board and explained it, and he was impressed. So that's why I said it again, because okay, now that we have one client's preference, again we have 3 clients, we're going to add that to the picky client. It's called my picky client. But wait, no, I need to be in this loop because I'm reading picky clients. Okay, my picky client dot client preference, and we're going to add the one that we just read, that being this one. I guess the naming is a bit bad, isn't it? If I rename it, is it going to rename the whole thing? I hope so. Okay, so I'm going to name it my client preference, as in the current client. Great, it renamed the whole thing. I don't want to confuse myself with naming stuff. They matter. Like, you may think they don't matter, but they matter when having a lot of line of code, because you are going to have a lot of line of code. Yes, we're starting small. Like, even right now, I want to change the this one, because when looking at it, I don't know if it's like a number of things. So I just want to add this N part to it. So let's rename this one and just say like number of potential clients, you know? Yeah, renamed. Let's go back to where we were. Here, number of potential clients. I think I need to add some spaces for readability. We had two things here. We have number of potential clients, and then we had the client preferences. So apparently we've read them all. What I'm going to do is put a breakpoint here and run the whole thing, because if this is wrong, I'm going to be in trouble when reading the bigger files. What I'm going to do is press F5 to run it. Sure, just choose something. Okay, it's running. Still hasn't run fully. And still running. Okay. Alright. So, using F10 to, well, I mean, I'm going to use F5 to jump. I just want you guys to be familiar, if you're not familiar with these controls, to jump to this here, and then I'm going to use F10. Okay, so, first of all, oh, look at that. The full path was right, because like this could be wrong, but it wasn't. So now my input file has these, okay? Which is basically the example file. First, 0th is, which we are reading it here. So let's read it and see if we have any errors. Okay, number of potential clients, 3, perfect. It's an integer. And starting from, yeah, it's going, okay. So I is 1. You can actually see them here. Can I make this? I can't make this bigger. But yeah, you can see I here. Creating the object, going through the ith line. Since it's 1, we're here. This is the current line we just read. Oh, look at that. It's put into like, I mean, I did it, but like it's put into a list because we used split by the spaces that it had. And number of loved ingredients, look at that, it's correct because it was 2. And now reading the ingredients, let's hope there aren't many mistakes here. J starting from 1 because the 0th is taken, and again, if we look at that, 1 is this, 2 is that, so number of ingredients is 2, and we said equal because we wanted to reach all of it. So loved ingredients currently has cheese, but the loop isn't finished. Okay, thank you. Now there are 2 loved ingredients for, I guess, a client. I don't have any identifier for the clients, and now we're done. So 2 red because the limit was 2. Now for the hated ingredients, the first, we were in the debug tab. I just went to the files tab to show the example. The first one has no hated ingredients, so it should be 0. And let's look at it. 0. Perfect. Why isn't it path? Oh, I was clicking F9. Okay, now. Oh god. Wait, what did I do? Okay, so loved ingredients was good, so I don't need 1. We had an error. Did we have an error? Was the 1 line the problem? Is the 1 line the problem? Because I think that this is I, because I mean, I is not used anywhere else. Well, except for here. And this is I plus 1 because even though I got the error in the first run, what about when it loops to the other client? Then like 0 and 1 isn't going to cut it. My brain just stopped working for a bit, so I'm just going to keep those. Okay. Now, I'm going to run it again because I need to understand the problem. Because when I first created it, I rationalized it. Current line is only 2. And it is. Is it? Wait, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. Okay. Current line was, because it's split. I'm just going to stop it. Because like we saw that I've split it, and when it's split, then that's wrong. So instead of calling this the current line, this is the like loved ingredients line, the ith one. The I plus 1 is the hated ingredients part. So that is my error. Now I can do this. Oh god. For both. And this should work. Okay, it's running. F5 to jump here. Yeah, I wanted to jump here. Okay, so just looking at the loved ingredients line, that is just the loved ingredients part. And we have 2, and then in here we have the ingredients that they like or love. For this part, clicking on F10, we have 0 and number of hated ingredients, again 0. Oh, okay. Why? Because this, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Because, okay, got it. The first line that I wrote was like, in the thing that I wrote current line, but if I write 0, there's always going to be something there, because even if nothing is there, the number 0 is there. So let's run it for hopefully the final time, so that we have our input all good. F5. Okay, jumping again with F5. Alright, now for the hated lines. 0. And yay! So now it doesn't loop through anything because, yeah, there we go. And now the client, that was the first client, is added. This is what we have. I want to look at the picky clients instead of, so yeah, inside the picky client, we have number of potential clients is 3, and then we have client preferences 1, and inside that, the 0th index has the client that hates nothing, loves 2 things, and the loved and the hated is here. Because sometimes when I copy and paste things, like these 2 get switched, and then like I see number of hated 0, and then number of hated would be 2. I was like, oh no, that's wrong. So it's not wrong. I'm going to remove these breakpoints and jump straight to here. F5, reading the second one. Let's look at the client preferences. We have 1 hated ingredients. Oh, why is it 0 loved ingredients? That's wrong, right? That's wrong. Cool. We have a mistake. Why is that? I'm just going to go to the next client and see what problems we have. And let's see if the problem happens again for that client. So, is my eye okay? Oh no, it's not okay. So that's the problem? The problem is my eye is wrong? Why am I forgetting this? Like, for I loop, like 2 steps. Yeah. Oh, is it Python? Does it matter? Plus equals 2. Did I write equals plus 2? I did. And that was a mistake. Running it again. Let's go here. Okay, now I'm going to skip the first one because it was fine. It is being added. Yes. And then for the second one, I'm just going to loop through it because I don't want to make the mistake. Great. Now, the first one was 1 and 2. This one is 3 and 4. And what I mean by that, 3 is here. The 3 is here. The 4th is I plus 1. We skip one number because that's how the loop is perfect. 1 loved, 1 hated. And looking at it, basil and pineapple, right? Yes, pineapple hated, basil loved. Pressing F5 again, removing this one here, and looking at the last and third client that hated basil and loved tomatoes and mushrooms. Nice. F10. That's it. Loop is done. Yes. And my picky client has 3 clients. We just looked at it, so let's not look at it again. We just read the input file. And like, you may think, why am I wasting so much time? Like, would I do this on the actual competition? And the answer is basically yes, because I have a rule of read the problem for an hour. Because it's going to be a really long problem, as it always has been. Like, it used to be like a PDF file of like, am I wrong to say almost 10 pages? Read the problem for an hour, because if you don't understand your problem, you're not going to solve it. And like, there is a thing that I wanted to say, which is, don't be afraid to have non-technical people in your team. Like, I encourage that, because they bring like a fresh eye to your problem, because sometimes you're too into your head trying to solve it with code, like even in your head, and the person is like, gives you an idea that they don't know is possible or not, but like a fresh set of eyes is 100% needed. So have a person that's non-technical in your team. Have someone to talk to brainstorm solving the problem, and then someone who writes it down, be it in code. Like, it's better if it's in code, because if out of, let's say your team has 3 people, if 2 read the problem and the third one, like, without even understanding the problem, looks at the sample input and creates the object for it. I mean, given you use an object-oriented programming language, you can use whatever language in the competition. But like, for me, if the other person creates the object and tries to read the sample file, even if they don't understand the problem, I think that will like speed up solving it, and then you'll have time to optimize it. Because like, I remember having to wait, I don't know, like half an hour to run the bigger files. Maybe my code was bad. Probably my code was bad, but like, so what? So, reading is done. And what we're going to do next is write it. So, write output. So, to write an output, we don't need anything to be returned. And we need the create an object for the output file, because that's different. Alright, now, what I was planning to do is create an object for my output file. So let's do this. Now, creating the object, we have 2 classes. Like, say this is the input file classes, you know? And then this is the output file class. When I first solved it, I called it the pizza, which is basically it. It's a pizza. My class. And inside this pizza class, we have a number that says how many objects are yet to come. Yeah, a number, a list of strings. That's it. So we're saying prop, and our prop, the first thing is an integer. What that integer is number of ingredients on the pizza. Copying this, putting this here. Okay. And the other prop is a list of string that is just the name of the ingredients. That's it. So ingredient name list, because it's a list. So let's call it a list so that we don't mistake it for being one object. Now, so I'm going to give it, assuming we have a method that reads the picky client object that we have. So let's call it create pizza. Let's name them fun stuff. And this function should have an output that is the pizza class that we just created. So my pizza is that. And what we do is give this to here. Since we haven't created anything here, let's just create them quickly. The output of this is a pizza. Oh yeah, that's right. Static first. Static pizza. And it's create pizza. It takes picky client as a parameter. So my picky client client. I mean, there are a bunch, so clients. And since it gives pizza as an output, so pizza, my pizza, no, it's not global, so it's fine. My pizza is a new, okay, All right. And what is control space is like for suggestions, what I use. And it should, for now, we're doing basically nothing. We just want the method to be there, is return my pizza. Now it's not giving us an error. Same for the output, write output file, but what we're doing is we're actually creating this method to run it. So to make it, yeah, I'm going to put it here so that the read output is at the top and the write output is in the bottom, and like the create pizza should be at the top of the top. Okay, so static output nothing, so void write output is the method, and what it takes is it takes pizza, we can just call it my pizza. Okay, and no errors, good. But since we are actually doing this, is I'm going to write this method but then not test it, and then just have it like not tested here. Okay, you can actually write a to-do here and it's going to highlight it. It's really nice. Is it not? Like Android Studio highlights it and like helps you find your to-dos, but I think there's like a search bar for, anyway. What we're going to do is we have this my pizza, and we know the output is supposed to be, first of all, the integer. Where's the integer? Oh, by the way, to write an output, what does one do? One can go to Stack Overflow and search for write output C# text, find something. Let's see. Yep, nope, this is literally what I just used like last time. But what I'm saying is, like, you can go to my GitHub, and my GitHub is 0 codelive 0. This is like the last thing that I posted there. And in the program section, there's a write, read, and then, yeah, we have the write output, which is this. You can copy and paste it. Or you can just use this one. Okay, I'm just going to copy this. Okay, alright, so now what I'm doing is basically creating a string file. It's copy pasted somewhere, so it's just named create text. And what I want to do, so this new line is from my old code, but I'm going to remove that. Why is that? Because it requires one single line, the sample output, or just the output. It should be one line, no new lines, so don't put a new line there. The first thing we want is, from the pizza file that we have, to write this. And then we have, is it integer to string, or is it string from integer? Dot. Why am I thinking in Java? This isn't string, it should be string. Can I just say toString? Yes, we can do that. Okay, cool. Knowing too many programming languages just confuses you. And then add a space here, because the other part is a loop. Just basically a for loop, and then just adding to this. And then finally writing write all file, which is already here. We can put our full path and say plus. Yeah, I'm just going to write like output dot.txt. Okay, this is going to be here, and we are going to loop through. Let's just format it better. Okay. Alright. Oh, really? That's wrong. Why is it wrong? Because... why is it wrong? For each var, I guess, ingredient in my pizza dot ingredient name list, I don't have to do that, by the way. I could just use link and put them all together. I think link has a concat function. I think I've used it before. So in this text, again, the idea is not to put it all in a new line. The idea is to put it all in one line. So we're just going to say our create text plus equals, we have the space here, so the ingredient, I'm actually going to put the space in front because I don't want an extra space to be in the back, and then just remove this one here. Okay, so this is not tested. What is the error here? You want a string that's like that? Does it matter? I guess just write all instead of write all lines because it's not... Oh, that doesn't exist. Write text? Okay, so after reading and understanding the problem, reading the input file, trying to write the output file, we are going to solve it. And because I want anyone who's even a beginner to understand what I'm doing, is I'm going to explain how I would solve it in the most simplest way to get the most simple score, and then how I will optimize it. So how I will solve it in the simplest way is, when looking at the sample input, put it all together. Okay, that's number one. Just like put ingredients to list, and like that can be an output. Number two, since we know we have a dislike and a like attribute, we can only select loved or liked ingredients. Let's hope our clients are more happy instead of selecting all ingredients, because if based on this method I chose all ingredients, I will lose 2 clients because pineapple is an ingredient that's put here. So the simplest way that I'm going to try and solve it is, first of all, put all the ingredients together. Then let's see which one is easier. Let's see if selecting only loved ingredients is easier. So we have our picky clients, and within this we have 2 things. We have the number of potential clients, and we have the clients. By the way, again, it's possible to solve it while reading the input file, but I want to like put the modules aside, put the methods aside, so that it's like that in my brain. Because like what is there, it's what is in my brain. I hope you understand what I mean. So what we can do is, we know how many potential clients we have, we can create a for loop for that. My favorite type of loop. Okay, so since we're starting from 0, we don't have to put the equal there. We have my picky client dot the number of potential clients. So that's our loop. Okay, now we can just read the client preference, call it my, or like current client's preference. So we have client's preferences, and the ith one, is it like that? Does this work? Okay, it does. We are looking at the current client's preferences. What we know is this client likes stuff, dislikes stuff. This is what's in this class, okay? For the my pizza, let's see what we can do. By the way, instead of writing it straight to my output file, what I can do is I can have a list of all ingredients instead of like having it be connected to the client. But again, we can do that later. Right now, I'm going to say the pizza that I have, I want you to add, from the list. I want this list. By the way, did I initialize this list? Because if I don't, then it's going to cause me issues when like straight up adding things to it. Going back to the top. Okay. We're going to add a bunch of stuff. So add range. This client has stuff that they like, stuff they dislike, right? So right now, again, we're solving it simplest way. We're just going to put the loved ingredients here. That's it. So we're just adding loved ingredients. What I would do is just say like equals itself distinct. Just a second. Am I not using like namespace thing? What is it called? Oh, so I just have to use data? Okay. System data. Common? Hello? I mean, I can just look at my old code. Is it .link? Oh my god, it is. Run away. From embarrassment. So, distinct. And then we just say to list so that it's back to being a list. Because I don't know what it does to it. So now we have a list of liked ingredients. Okay? And we can like keep it at that, run it, see what scores we get. Because that's like a way of getting some scores. So we have the example file. And do I start complicating things by creating a list? So what I can do is create a, I guess I can say prop here as well. I can create a list of strings that is, like file name list. I don't need the get and set. Well, why did I do that? Anyway, yeah, so this list contains, each file name. That's it. Because we already have the path. The folder that I've named put. Like, it could be input, output, but I've just named it put. Okay, so, oh god. And now, so this is the first one. And I need to make this static. Okay. And then we have A, B, C, D, E. So let's name them. And then we have A, B, C, and D and E. So A is there. Putting B here. There we go. Putting, let's just put this aside. C. And we'll loop through it in a bit after I tediously put each one here. I mean, I could write it, but why would I do that? That would be waste of clicks on the keyboard. I'd rather copy and paste it. Okay. Finally, E. I'll just have to loop through this so I don't... So I can just say for each... By the way, I click tab to write the template, to finish the template for me. And for each item in this collection, I put like just file name. I guess my file name so that it doesn't file name. So just replacing this. Now I don't need the file name here. Cool. And we shouldn't have any errors because, and like when running it, sometimes you want to run one file, you can just comment them out because you've put them as add, you haven't put them as a way that is harder to comment out. So, what we can do is run it, and it might take a while, but yeah. So let's look at this here, and click run. So. It should read the first file. Oh, we have an error. Cool. Line 52. Line 52. I'll put this in right here. Okay. Yeah. So we can just, let's say, like, start reading. And then this is my file name. And then we start running it. Alright, let's see what happens. Again, I've put some write lines so that we know what's happening, and we should see the outputs being created here. So that's why I have this folder here. Okay, so this is fun. So you saw the output file being created. It's telling me, let's read it so that we understand what's happening. Stream reader, okay, so in line 2554. Is it 25? Okay. Okay. So in read my input, and which leads to line 54. Oh wow, we have an error with that. Unable file not found. Why? Elaborate. Oh, I didn't put a dot there. See, like it's easy to make silly errors. Just one dot right here. Okay. So since elaborate didn't run correctly, but the others did, I can comment this, control / and run it again so that this final file runs. I have already solved it, so my score doesn't change, but you can see the score. By the way, look at the number of attempts. We can start putting the, so in the put folder, I have these stuff, but what I clicked just now is to put my code. And like last time I tried to zip it up, it said like the size is too big. So for now, so that I don't get any errors, because like this is the first try, I'm just going to put my .cs file here. And I think this finished running. I'm going to put each file here and see how many scores we get. Like, I doubt we get 1,000. So, because we only put the loved ingredients, so we're not going to get a good score. But hopefully we are getting something, because like we could even just get an error telling us your output file is wrong, and then we submit and see what we get. Now we're going to get judged by the judging system. Okay, we have errors. Not fun. Let's look at what the error is. So my output, we didn't test the output file, so it's cool that we're getting errors. And I didn't even bother to open it. Okay, let's look at it. How does it look? Oh, why did I forget to put the number there? Let's uncomment these. In the create pizza, I thought I did. Guess I didn't. Going here, we are here. Just right here, I should have like simply said, like I can just say ingredient list .count, because it needs it. The person who saw this must be like really bothered. Now I will run it again. I want to see what score I get again. I mean, hopefully not wrong answer. Honestly, it would have been nice. Like, there should have been, like a standard naming practice if, like, you wanted to upload the whole thing. Okay, let's look at this. Okay. I got scores! Alright, so here's something that I want to share with you. We have, so 1441 plus 840 plus 2 plus 5 plus 3 is, I think I put another 2 here that I shouldn't have, because I should have clicked 0. What is the score? 2,291. It's the number of people. If you look at difficult and elaborate, the people that don't hate any ingredients is here. By the way, this means start of line. So first start of line, 0. There are 1,441 clients that don't hate anything. So that's the score we got. Same for elaborate. We have 840 people that don't hate anything. And that's the score we got. By only putting liked ingredients there. Which means, if you only put liked ingredients there, basically the people that have different preferences are just not going to buy anything from you. Here's another thing. If you, like, difficult and elaborate are not easy to solve because they can't be read through that with eyes. But the course one is, we have 10 clients, we only got 3. We can do better. That's my point. And the course one is readable. Just looking at it, we have, when you look at it, you know this is client 1, this is client 2. So this is liked 3 times, hated once. Okay, so if you put it there, you're going to lose this client, but it's fine because you're going to gain 3 clients. Is there something that is, so this is hated twice, liked twice. So that's like, you're going to lose 2 clients or gain 2 clients. If you have it, don't have it. But like, I guess if you look at the ones around it, if they are hated or loved, I guess, then it would make sense to choose this client over this client. But right now, I want to try something first, and then I'm going to give you the solution of my answer, which is not that much higher than the solution that we got, but it is a bit higher. It's 2723. This is my score, just to remind you. So, what I want to try is, after putting just the liked ingredients there, here's what I want to do. I want to create a list of loved ingredients and a list of hated ingredients to say, basically, remove the hated ingredients from the loved ingredients list and see where that takes us. Okay? So, instead of going through each client, I could, while reading, just create a ingredient list. So, what I'm going to do now is sort of abandon these classes that I created, because I want to create a class that is ingredient information. So, we're creating a class, there we go, class, ingredient info. And here, instead of linking it to a client, I want the ingredient to I want string, ingredient name, because I want it for the output file. And I want, since this is a property, I need to write get and set here. And I need to make it public. The other thing is a status, but since we only have it loved or hated, we're making it bool. So let's create a property for that. We can call it is loved. Yeah, we have ingredient info, and we can populate it in the read input file, or we can populate it in create pizza. I mean, it's probably better to do it here because you're looping through it once instead of looping through it again. Now, I could create a global static ingredient info and say my ingredient info. Okay. I'm going to populate it while reading my input file. So where do we get ingredient information? Here we get loved ingredients. Here we get hated ingredient. What I want to do is create a constructor for this that just reads it, and so that I can add it faster. We have a string of name and a bool of, I guess I can just call it is loved, it's fine. And this shouldn't have been a semicolon. So this is the name part, and the is loved of this class is the same as the is loved from outside. And what we mean by that is when we click this, it tells us it's this one. When we click this, it's telling us it's this one. Cool. Now we created a constructor, we can just call it, and again, where are we getting the ingredients names? Instead of numbers and stuff like that, we just want the names right now. So we have the loved ingredients part here. What we can do is, we have a global, oh right, I want this to be a list. I don't want it to be one thing. Why do I want one ingredient? So yes. So we have my ingredient info, let's just call it list, because that would be more correct for my I don't want to, we have my ingredient info list. We're going to populate it using both loved and hated ingredients. So the loved ingredient line is a string, and then what it is the bool is that it is loved, true, because we know this is loved ingredients. And I should say new here. Just a ingredient info, and then yep, that is it. It's telling me ingredient in dot info dot, oh, the constructor is inaccessible. Got it. Public, there we go. We'll do the same thing for the hated ingredients, and we're just calling this false. Cool. Now we have a list and information on the list of ingredients. What we can do is in the create pizza part, I guess I'm going to comment all of this out. Instead of going through the clients, we're going through the ingredients, because we don't technically need the clients. We just want to know what ingredients to put on our pizza. By the way, before creating it, I need to be sure that it is, there are no duplicates. So what I can do is just at the end say dot and to list. Cool. Now we have a distinct list of ingredients. I'm going to loop through them now in a for each loop. My ingredient info list, right? And each one is an ingredient. So ingredient. Thank you for giving me the suggestion. Okay. No, it's not. Okay. So what we can do is check it if it's liked or disliked, because we can do that. Like, you can say dot is loved is now a thing I can check. So if it's loved, put it there. If it's not loved, don't put it there, but we already did that. We only put loved ones here. There's an idea that we can use. Instead of like checking it here, since I have a class that I put the ingredients in, what I can do is add another attribute, call it the idea that I used last time. It's not like to check whether it's loved or is loved or hated. The idea that I used is to count how many times it's loved, and then count how many times it is hated, and then based on that create a like selection method. What I mean is basically I'm going to divide how it's loved compared to how it's hated, this ingredient. So let's create the same for the hated one, and I have to go through the read one. Let's duplicate this, copy paste. Yes, we're going straight to the optimized method that I have. Okay, see, we have an error. Why? Because instead of saying whether it's loved or hated, now I'll have to count it. So I'm going to do a group by, and let's see where that takes me. So what I'm going to do is like look at this, like just say var, create an object, like from ingredient info. We're just naming it. In this list, I need to put parentheses. I need to say select from, and what I have in ingredient info is select new. We have the name, and then what we're going to do is count. I'm going to be super lazy. I don't know how bad this is, but I'm going to say number loved equals dot, where forgetting lambda as well. Okay, where the name is the one that we have, and okay, now I don't have it whether it's loved or not loved. So I need to have, I guess I need to have two different ingredient info lists. One that is saying it's loved or not loved as a bool, one is doing the counting, because like one is distinct, the other one isn't. That's where I am right now. So I'm going to do that. We're calling this class ingredient like all, because it's always going to have all, and it's going to have the simplest, again, the bool for is loved, and the string for name. And now, so ingredient name. We can actually use this list, not the list that I was creating right now. So two global variables. This one is called ingredient, and then it's called all. It's not that confusing in my head. I hope it's not confusing to you as well. Okay. Now for this all one, we're just going to add it without having to care about whether it's distinct or not. So this is my and you are a new... I know I didn't create a constructor for you, so I'm going to do that. Public ingredient all, and what we're going to do is have both the string name. I guess I can have it be the same name. And then the bool for is loved. And then we are going to basically say this dot, the name equals the name that's coming from above, same for the bool. Now the constructor is being used right here. The name is coming from the loved ingredient line, which is just one thing. And we know we are in the loved ingredient section, so is loved is true. Let's do it for the hated ingredient. Okay, making sure I am renaming things correctly. This is not loved, so it's false. Cool. Now we have an all ingredient list. We're going through that one. We're going to check for the name, which name is ingredient name. And in ingredient name should be equal to this one here, but also I want it to be loved. So is loved should be true. There we go. I want a count of this. Cool. Now we know how many times this is loved. Oh god, it should be this one. Okay. And now we're checking for how many times it is hated. So hated, and instead of true, now it's false. Now we have this, let's say to list. I think I can make this distinct. Okay. Now what I have to do, well, now this is a list, it's not a like ingredient list. I'm going to have to loop through it. So many loops, so little time. Okay. So for each item in this list, I'm going to tell this to add it. And what this is a new ingredient info, which contains the item name, and then for first one is number of loved, and second one is item dot hated. Oh god, this one should have been name. There we go. I'm going to check if this is done correctly or not. I'm going to put this here. Let's check if we have too many breakpoints. I need one for the starting line, so I don't mind it. We can have one for the finish line so that we can just look at the variables that we have. So, clicking F5. Okay, there we go. Start reading. Okay, now let's look at my ingredient. So, we have 9 ingredients. Well, 10. This is hated once, loved 3 times. Yeah, that's true. And hated once, loved 3 times. Is it really? Opening the file. We are opening the course file. So, are you also hated once, loved 3 times? Apparently. Okay, I thought it's like a mistake. And what else? Can I see it like this? That's cool. Okay. Yes, let's see which one is hated more than it is loved. Hated twice, loved twice. Hated once, loved 0 times. Yes, that's true. This one, where is it? This one is just hated. Nobody likes it. That's true. Cool. Okay, so we have this ready. Thank God. I'm going to stop the program and tell you the trick that I used that got me this score, which is in the ingredient info, I'm creating a new bool that says like if it's selected or not. So we call it selected. for now, like it's not something that I want in the constructor. But in the selected bool, what I want, let's look at it this way. We have the ingredient, we know how much it is loved, and we know how much it is hated. Right now, I want to select the ingredients that are loved more than they are hated. Because if I only choose the ingredients that are loved and take out the ingredients that are hated, what if an ingredient is loved, sure, by one person, but hated by 10 people? I said, okay, no, I want a list of the loved ingredients, but then it's hated by 10 people. It's better for me not to be there. So, like, I want to put that in here. Before I select it, let's create a double that checks for like loved to hate ratio. Okay? And since it's double and these are integer, you have to convert them. So the loved part is going to be at the top. The hated part is going to be here. But what if hated is 0? Because we know that's also a case. So if something is not hated whatsoever, then what we can do is say like the love to hate ratio is, I don't know, like 1. If it's not 0, then calculate this for me. Let's say, so let's check. Like this is loved 3 times, hated 1. So 3 is good. 3 is a positive number. Then I shouldn't have put that as 1, should I? Because if it's 1, then it means loved and hated are the same number. And again, even if that's the case, that's fine. So, because for now, I'm fine with it. I don't know. So let's say if this love to hate ratio is a positive number, cool. And in the create pizza method, we're just going to say, do I need to do that, or can I just say like my pizza dot add range? Oh, it's not a list? No, because the list is inside it. Okay. Add range, and I can say my ingredient info list dot select. I only want the names, so give me the name where this is lambda. Oh god, what did I do? Oh, it's okay. So the where should be before the select, because if you do the select, the other attributes are all gone. So where p parameter, p stands for parameter, selected is true because it's a bool. Give me the ingredient name. Okay, there we go. By the way, I don't think this is going to give us a great score, but let's hope so. And I think I need to say to list because I think it becomes an array. So now I don't need this code. I just have one line. The whole confusing part is in the read my input. I'm going to, I want to look at the selected part. Like I want to run it and see how the selection looks. Okay. So let's put a breakpoint here and run it and see. All right. Let's press F5. So this is the first ingredient, right? And it's loved 3 times, hated once. What is the love to hate ratio? 3. We already checked. Okay. So this is going to be selected. Same for this one. So if I click F10, you can see that selected becomes true. Okay. Now this one, loved 6 times, hated 0 times, perfect, also selected. The answer is 1. So I'm going to select it anyways, sadly, because I said bigger than 0. Okay. This is definitely selected. Okay. Let's move on. Selected because it's 1. Loved 4 times, hated 0 times, selected definitely. And loved twice, hated once, that is again going to be selected. Loved 3 times, okay, cool. These are all selected. Well, this is not selected, but does that mean I'm going to get a good score? We can actually create a method that checks for a score instead of having to publish it each time. But let's say how many ingredients we have. We can do that. Oh, I think I forgot to put the number here. Yeah, I did. Cool. I forgot to put the number here. So I can't publish it because it's going to be wrong. But what I want to do is put a thing here saying selected ingredients. Number of selected ingredients equals dot the number. Yes. So after I choose this, I need to put this in on a new line. Okay. What I want to do is fix this error and then run everything. That one is going to work because it's counting itself right here. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to not run it with F5. I technically don't need to run B and A because that's all the scores we can get from them. So I'm just going to say .NET run and see where that takes us. And while that is happening, we can try and publish each one that is going to be output. Let's see how many outputs. So, course 9 ingredients were selected. Let's run this and see if we get the final score for it. Do we have another output? Since we don't, I'm going to submit this, wait for the score, and then wait for the other one to run. Okay, still 3. So that can be higher. Is it still 3 or was it lower? No, it's still 3. So our method didn't take us anywhere high. So the last part was from a different recording and I'm recording this part because the last part was a live stream from my Twitch, and because I was running OBS live and I was running my program, my laptop basically overheated, so I had to stop. There's like 1 hour of footage of me just saying why my code isn't running because my laptop is overheated. So this is my complete program. And I'm going to go through it. Now you understand the problem, you understand the idea. I'm just going to show it to you fully. So starting from main, we have our list of input files. And then we have read my input, which I have not changed anything besides the fact that I added a right line that says what is the percentage of red. I still have the list where it counts the number of loved and hated for each ingredient, and then it puts into a distinct list using this for each. This code can be cleaned out, but I want to keep it there, so even when I put it on GitHub, you guys can understand what's there because of the whole explanation part. After the read input, we have write output, and the classes are all there. And for write output, it's quite simple. We're just putting the number of ingredients and then in the same line putting the names of the ingredients plus equals, one by one, and then we're writing it to our output file, which is just a text file. Going back to our create pizza, because we have the list of distinct ingredients and we know what is loved, what is hated, the idea here isn't anything special because the main idea is inside the ingredient info class. And the idea is to select an ingredient if the love to hate ratio is 1 and up. And here I'm saying if it's not hated whatsoever, give it like a high number, and make sure if your values are integer, make sure to convert them to double. So both sides should be double. The output should be double as well. And for selected, this is just a condition that has a bool output. If this love to hate is bigger and equal to 1, then this comes out as true. If not, then it's not selected. So let's run our files and submit them to see what output we get. I'm running everything. It might take a while. Like maybe the last two may each take 5 to 10 minutes. I'll run it and let's see where that goes. So upload your program here, your other data here, and wait to be judged. You have the example output, the basic one, the course exam output, the difficult one, and finally the elaborate one. Let's get judged. I suggest you guys join hubs to make the experience more fun. And even if you don't have a team member, you might join like hub groups on Facebook, or I don't know, I don't think there's a active community on Twitter. But even if in the comments you find team members, that's great. But in hubs, I think it's easier to find team members, especially ones in a university near you. And like, even if you don't find a team member and you know you can solve it, you can just use someone else's Google account and ask them to register so that you can submit your answers and just solve this. Because like, I'm not joining to win. I'm joining because I want to solve a problem and have fun along the way. And if you have friends who say, oh, they're not programmers, they don't want to participate in this, I encourage you to just read the problem with them and see how they try to come up with solutions. It doesn't have to be like code, obviously. Like, people come up with solutions even if they don't know how to code. Like, we live our life solving problems, right? So I suggest you have someone who's not a coder in your team, because they have probably fresher ideas. And I suggest you have someone who can convert ideas into code, whether that's yourself or someone else, and someone who can lead the team and, like, I don't know, like get coffee or something to make sure things cool down. Because sometimes you're just too in your head, especially in the 4-hour span of the competition. So I wish you all good luck. I hope we all do well. Please let me know what are your scores and what languages you use, and best of luck. If I've motivated one person to join this and they weren't planning on joining it before, then that's a win for me. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for believing in me, and I hope you learned at least one new thing through my videos. I'm really thankful the amount of support my videos have gotten. I didn't really want to create a video this time because my solution is not the best, and there are videos out there that have a higher score. But some of you guys messaged me and asked me when I'm making a video, and that motivated me to work on this. So I really appreciate that. And if anyone has any questions, if you think this solution was not explained well, I have a Twitch channel that I do live streams every Friday. So if you have any questions, I'm open to answer them. I'm actually planning on solving it using Python this Friday. So if you have time, you're welcome to join us. I'll put all my solutions on GitHub, and inshallah, if I have a good solution for the qualification round problem, I'll definitely make a video out of it. You guys have been really supportive of me doing this, and I don't think I'm the smartest person. I don't think I have the best solutions, but again, my point is to explain it for my older self, and if I've helped anyone just a little bit, I'm happy about it. Thank you. Bye.